Thank you. This meeting is being recorded, so we put it on social media and for education purposes, and so that we learn and grow. And I think that's the beauty of being here. And that's certainly what I've used my Toastmasters experience to be. So it's to participate, to meet wonderful people, to learn and grow. And it's to, and what a better topic than leadership. Only today, I was in a very tough conversation with a mentor of mine, and his message to me was, Leo, you're a crap leader. But in that is the possibility, because if I know what type of leader I am, I know the path that I can take, and it's my choice to take it and access that growth that I want. And at the end of the day, it is a choice to be here tonight, and it's a choice to be a leader. It's a choice, like everyone here, to take on a role, where it be it in an exco position or to participate in events. So thank you, everyone. And with that, I'd like to welcome our beautiful President, Gabrielle.
Yeah, good evening, dear friends, and thank you, Leo. You always speak right into our hearts, and I wish you lots of strength for what lies ahead of you. Yeah, I would like to welcome our first-time Toastmaster, Julia, tonight. She is starting with a lot of panache already, and from knowing her over the last couple of weeks and months, we know she has got so much talent and she got so much energy. She will give us a beautiful guidance through the evening. We had yesterday Verity's birthday. Yip, yip. Happy birthday, belated, to our wonderful, not only world champion, ex-president, wonderful woman, friend, special, inspirational person in this world, who is humble, who is always prepared to help us, who has got such sound advice, who is carrying a lot on her shoulders. May your shoulders be very strong for the next year as well. Health and love surround you. A good glass of wine always at the end of the evening, or a fat gin and tonic. But to you and to your family, all the best, Verity, and for your career and for your bank account. May it overflow with dollars. So that is happy birthday. Lots and lots of love. And that is the birthday girl. And then we have something else in our club, not something, but we have two people. And we are so honored that in the name of Toasted, they carried our flag so far into the district level. And the first, I don't see Alex is here. So we really have to say hooray, hooray to Shireen, who had fought such an elegant battle on district level. And whoever was there, she looked beautiful, she spoke so well. It was just, there were just too many people, and somebody took it away. But Shireen, to have gone that far is absolutely fantastic. You did so well. And I think we will always put you at the first evaluation slot there, so you can teach all of us. Wonderfully done, and congratulations, you are really a superstar.
Thanks, everybody. It's my husband in the background going, yay!
And right so.
He's also
glad it's over.
I am glad, sure. I must admit, I was sweating quite a bit there.
Oh, hectic, well done.
Thank you so much. But it was also fun. It was a great learning experience, and it was lots of fun. It really was.
Mm-hmm. And one can see with Verity where it leads to if you go to the top, you know, how other things have to stay back. And for a coach, it's a different thing than for with a profession like you have. You know, if you would go to the top, my God, you know, what would have to fall aside, and how would the family react? So you got as far as destiny wanted you to go, and you have enough golden rays around you now. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And then Alex, as well, unfortunately is not here, but as well, he managed to come so far, and he gave a wonderful speech. Then I would like is, Leo, have you seen whether Chantel has joined us? Here's Chantel. Hello, Chantel. So happy you made it. Can you please unmute yourself? Yeah. And Chantel.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's wonderful. And lucky it's just worked out, you know, last minute to come in. Chantel, is that your first Toastmaster visit?
No, I visited you guys, it was 2 weeks ago.
Sorry. You know, I have a very good quote from Mark Twain at the end, which fits exactly. So I won't look for it now, but sorry for that mishap. Then be welcome again. And hopefully you want to come forever, but let's see how you carry how this evening carries all of us. And
Absolutely.
then I would like then last not least, but speak a toast to, and you can all unmute yourself. This is not pure gin, just water, but may South Africa live high, and we speak a toast to South Africa and all her speakers.
South Africa and all
South
the
Africa
speakers.
and all the
speakers.
And now for the host of the evening to guide us through an exciting program, may I hand over to our first-time Toastmaster, Julia von Immenkamp.
Thank you so much and welcome to this wonderful evening. I'd like to welcome Jennifer as well, who just joined us. Beautiful to have you here as well. And thank you very much for the preparation. Chantel, I do remember you. I did see you 2 weeks ago. And I was hoping last week that you speak and that you do table topics. And I'm looking forward that not only you, but everyone else is brave enough and sees the joy in joining table topics this afternoon, not this afternoon, but a little bit later. And looking at Daniel, I'm quite sure you will master and have the greatest ideas for our topics later. Thank you for preparing that. And with a very warm welcome to everyone. I'm so happy you are here. You're a wonderful family, and I'm looking forward to race with you. Coming to the theme of the evening. You have it read on the program. It is Speak to Lead. So I don't know what you have in your mind when you thought of Speak to Lead. In my mind, things came up. Okay, leader, leadership. And I saw men in a suit and a tie. And saying that, while I was getting out of my bed this afternoon, having this nice afternoon nap, I thought I like to dress up for tonight as a leader. And all these pictures I have in mind with a tie and my suit. I put my hair up, make my hair nice. And I'm sure you can see it. I enjoyed myself tremendously. And what is really leadership? I Googled leadership. And I typed in Google, our big friend, Speak to Lead. You know what came up? Millions of suggestions how you can speak better, what leaders should be, how you speak to leaders, how you become a leader. And then I tapped on a YouTube video from Sun Gun. You know Sun Gun? He's a very meditative person. Google it. I sent you later the link. Google him. And he started, it was a speech of 5 minutes, and he started leadership. What is leadership? What is it with people who want to become leader? Just thinking that is wrong, he said. You don't become a leader because you want to become a leader. And you don't want to become a leader because you want to become a leader. You become a leader because of your action. You are a leader in your field, in what you choose, in what you love for yourself and for this world and what you stand up for. And people will follow you because as a leader, you know something better than the others. That is why you become a leader. You are a specialist. You become a specialist in a field, and people will follow you because they want to know what you know, what possibly the others don't know. So after listening to this 5 minutes talk of Sandrum, I thought, okay, what has this to do now with speak to lead? I think it is a beautiful roundup of what we speak, we are. And speaking has to do with integrity. Speaking has to do with being ourselves and standing up for who we are for others. And then others will follow us. And then we are in this world who we may be supposed to be, following the lead. Not speak to lead, but speak or lead who we are, we speak. Can you follow me? It's fine if you don't, but I think you get the point. It's not about becoming a speaker, a leader. It's actually choosing who we are and what we want to do in this world and what we stand up for and doing what we love and what we're best in. So welcome again to this evening. And I'm very happy to host you for tonight. And I'm looking forward to a beautiful, joyful evening with you, listening to beautiful stories and evaluations. And Mrs. Madame President Gabrielle, it is an honor. Fellow Toastmasters and guests. Thank you for this wonderful introduction, Gabrielle. As always, a nice pleasure. As Toastmaster of today, it is my responsibility to introduce today's speakers. After the speeches have concluded, I will ask for the timer's report, request ballots be passed to the vote counter, introduce the general evaluator, ask the M counter for their report, ask the grammarian for their report, and call on the vote counter for results. I will then return in control of the meeting of the president before we conclude the day. Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to introduce now the leadership roles helping to run this meeting. And it is a wonderful pleasure to introduce Shireen O'Neill as our counter today. I'm looking forward to get all your M's and Oms. And I remember when I started doing this twice, I find it so difficult to listen to people, especially on radio, and they say I think this is a wonderful role. And after your brilliant speaking last Sunday, when I was listening to this marathon, beautiful afternoon, I'm excited to introduce you. Please, Shireen, explain our role, explain your role and what we have to expect.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster Julia, and good evening to our President Gabrielle and fellow Toastmasters. This evening, I am the MR counter, and the purpose of the MR counter is to note any overused words or filler sounds used by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Also looking out for words that may be inappropriate interjections, such as and, well, but, so, and you know. Sounds could also be or I will be keeping count and will give the tally at the end of the session. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Shireen. Justine Norman, you are our grammarian tonight. It is a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking on this role. Please describe your role and what we have to look out for.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, everybody, toasties and guests. As the grammarian and listener this evening, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I will also give a report at the end of the meeting as well as a little exercise to see who was listening intently, and we can guess who said what. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. So for today's meeting, the word is initiative, which means the ability to assess and initiate things independently. An example of the using the word is he has great initiative when it comes to getting things done. I hope to hear as many people use it this evening. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Justine. I'm looking forward to initiative. Definitely have to learn my wording in English. Thank you so much. And last but not least, I'd like to welcome Vanya Lagerfeld, who is our timekeeper today. Please introduce your role, explain what you're looking out for.
Thanks, Madam Toastmaster. And it's Vanya Gauche, but I forgot to change it. I'm the timekeeper tonight, and I will have a video background that has a timer, and the screen will go green, yellow, and red. As for the speakers to keep track of their time, 5 to 7 minutes is for prepared speeches, 2 to 3 minutes is for evaluations, and and 1 to 2 minutes is for impromptu speeches. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Vanya, for your introduction. So now we come to the speakers of the day. I'm very excited to introduce our first speaker of today, what is Claire Van Zyl, who will evaluate the speech of Imran Israel, the elected speaker. Please tell us the criteria from Imran Israel, the reluctant speaker.
Good evening, Madam Toastmaster. So this is a very exciting project because it's the very first speech that a new Toastmaster does to introduce themselves to our club. So it's an easy topic because it's something that they know, and it's just giving them the opportunity to speak for the first time in the Toastmasters, Toastmasters meeting, and to follow a basic structure for a speech. So I'll just be looking at what Imran does naturally and make some suggestions for his next project. So it's a very exciting speech. And if we were in the room when he'd finished, we would give him a standing ovation. I look forward to your speech, Imran.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you so much, Claire. Please welcome Imran Israel, the reluctant speaker. The reluctant speaker, Imran Israel.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and fellow guests. I decided to title my speech the very obvious one, the icebreaker. So being it as a first speech, it certainly has the potential for the preparation of it to generate an avalanche of emotions. I decided to be a bit unconventional and give my speech a subtitle, actually 2 subtitles. One being that the icebreaker speech is supposed to be something about myself, or at least that's a suggestion. Who am I? I asked that question with another subtitle, the reluctant speaker. I find it difficult to talk about myself because I've always been content to reside in virtual concealment. I asked myself how I could possibly come up with a 4 to 6 minute speech about an individual I would rather not talk about. However, tonight I'm going to introduce you to me, Imran Israel, as I was officially named on the 2nd of August, 1983. And I'll save you the mess, I'm 38 years old. I grew up in a family of 3 boys and was painfully shy, an introvert by nature. But as I grew older, my shyness started to wear off. I personally believe that in every human's life, there are turning points that changes one's outlook, interests, attitude towards life, as well as other people. when, metaphorically, glasses are broken into small fragments. My outlook on life changed when I contracted a highly contagious liver infection caused by the hepatitis A virus, which resulted in me being bedridden for 3 months. This was, without a doubt, a dark period in my life. Things that I thought mattered to me became glaringly insignificant in the face of bad health. I considered myself to be fit and active, yet circumstance had led me into a weak state in as little as a few days. It's amazing how fast life can turn on you. One day you're on a high, and the next day you could be gone. During my illness, I reminisced about all the time I had wasted on doing things that were not meaningful and basically distractions. Post-recovery, I focused on doing things that were meaningful to me, as well as to the people that mattered to me. To be honest, I do not take pleasure in giving talks or speeches. However, as I look back over the years, there have been numerous times, some would call them opportunities, where I have been forced, coerced, persuaded, and I'll even admit that I have volunteered to occasionally speak before a group of people. The venues have varied in size and have ranged from work presentations to friends' birthday speeches to chairing small departmental committees, as well as trustee meetings of our homeowners association. Tinkering with things, simple household repairs, mountain biking, trail running, rugby, soccer, just generally being active are some of the things that I enjoy doing. My busy schedule at times does not permit me the satisfaction to enjoy such activities as often as I would like. A high school teacher once said to me, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. This was the impetus for me to join a Toastmasters organization. However, life tends to become seemingly chaotic as well as busy, and certain goals are sidelined in the process. Busy as I am, I finally decided to take the leap and join Toastmasters, solely to become proficient in public speaking. So, the objective of this talk was to tell you something about myself. And some of you may say, well, that's all he really did was tell a little something and should have potentially have said more. As fellow Toastmasters, I would assume that each of you have developed a perception or formed an opinion as to who I am. So I end with a question. Who do you say that I am? Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Imran. Who you are. I think it was beautiful that you invited us to have a small look into your life. Thank you so much for taking the courage to do the icebreaker with us, and welcome to the family. Thank you. Our second speaker being evaluated by Nicholas Jackson. Thank you so much, Nicholas. Please tell us the criteria for our second speaker, Sophie Schmidt. Enter stage left.
I almost entered the Zoom call straight in. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, Sophie Jones. I am evaluating your innovative planning pathway, level 1, project 2, which is actually your first speech, because the objective of this is that you deliver it once, receive feedback, and then you deliver the same speech again. So I hand over to Julia, who will introduce you. The title of your speech, Enter Stage Left.
Please welcome speaker Sophie Schmidt enter stage left, Sophie Schmidt.
The air is chilly in Grahamstown, Makanda. I'm 16 years old and I sink as deep as I can into my fur coat as I stand in line with a ticket in my hand and we all enter the auditorium. The stage is dimly lit. There is a man in a tin bath, the sound of water swishing and dripping. The name of this avant-garde theatre play was Undone. It's a story of a young man who has to undo, unlearn, unpack, and unlock all that he was to become who he is. It's a story of how he grew up, wrapped in a mother's love while fighting a father's undermining coldness. I was born in Cape Town. My father grew up here too, with German heritage and, as a surprising DNA test recently revealed, also Indian heritage. He is a kind man who loves poetry and people. My mother is from Mauritius, a tiny island in the Indian Ocean that came out of a volcano. Despite the pretty big beaches that you're all picturing, it's an island of boiling lava under very hard rock. Let's just say my mother is very like her motherland. It was at that moment, applauding the play Undone, that I knew what I wanted to do with my life. As he took a bow, my cheeks glittered with tears. I'd never felt so understood. He managed to capture the truth of what it's like to grow up between two vastly opposing forces. As a child, like most children, when asked what I wanted to do when I grew up, I answered, save the world. The classic idea of how to do that is, become a doctor, become a vet, perhaps an environmental activist, even the president. But after watching that play at the National Arts Festival in Grahamstown, I knew that the way to change the world wasn't through preaching to the masses, but rather connecting with the individual and making them feel understood, empowered, and at peace. And I was going to do just that by devoting my life to theatre. 3 years later, I was in my first year of drama school, and in the evenings I worked at the Alexander Bar. Some of you might remember the place. It was a little theatre converted from an office room that staged 2 plays every night. I watched about more than 4 different performances each week for over a year. And the more I watched, the more I loved. Good plays, sad plays, bad plays. Everything fed my fascination. In the day, I'd be rehearsing all day for university productions, and at night, I would sit in my chair in the dark room and watch and watch and watch. Theatre. To me, theatre is the greatest form of creative expression. When else does someone actually sit down for an entire hour without looking at their phone or talking to anyone else, but just listening and watching what the director chooses to reveal with the lights and what the actor wants to tell? Perhaps you might argue that a film offers the same kind of experience, but there's something different when it's live performance. There are no special effects, no illusions. It's just raw human connection. It's the oldest form of art. With our fellow humans, ancient man telling stories round the fire. Such a powerful medium, and yet so fragile. COVID devastated many things that we once took for granted. It took lives and livelihoods alike, but it also took the safe space of theatre. I'm not sure if any of you have watched a play recently, but when the person behind you coughs, you get swept out of the world of the play and brought back into the very harsh reality that you're in an enclosed space with a deadly virus. When the pandemic hit, many theatres tried to stay alive. The big state-funded ones like the Baxter and the Artscape made it, but it was the small independent theatres that closed their doors forever, including my beloved Alexander Bar. But like a protea after a felt fire, new shoots slowly emerge. This year, for the first time in 2 years, the National Arts Festival will be taking place in person in Grahamstown, Makhanda. No more shoddy Zoom plays where an actor's accidentally on mute in the height of the climax. Now, while the seed of my theatre career was hidden under the soil, it began to awake. Over the last 2 years, the roots of a play, a story, my story, emerged on the pages about self-discovery, gentle love, and a fiery rage. 6 months ago, I applied to stage it at the National Arts Festival, and I have just received my acceptance and found out that I will be performing in the same venue where I watched Undone 7 years ago. In just over a month, I'll be standing in that cold Eastern Cape air, hiding and sinking into my jacket, but this time not with a ticket in my hand as an audience member, but in the wings as an actor, a storyteller, a performer. Thank you.
Wow, Sophie, this is amazing. I'm so happy for you. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking this on. You're absolutely welcome. Thank you for taking this on, Sophie, but taking on of being the volcano, because you must have this volcano spirit inside yourself. So every time when I listen to you, I can just feel the spread of love, and in the end, you're still saving the world. You are actually saving the world possibly next week, sitting in your cold jumper, just waiting to perform in Grahamstown. I wish I could be going there. So thank you so much for introducing yourself with the icebreaker. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you again to Imran to listen to your teacher, that he invited you to evolve your communication skills. I enjoyed this very much because it felt very natural, and it felt like you have not prepared it in a way of being natural. And I love listening to speeches when they are very natural, coming through and not prepared. So well done. I can see that you have some experience there. Sorry, Sophie, when I'm not talking more about your skills, because I'm a little bit jealous. I think art is so amazing. It's so beautiful. It lightens up my heart. And every time I sit in a theater and someone coughs in my back, I actually feel like, yes, wow, I'm in a space of creativity. And there are people in front of the stage who are committed to entertain ourselves. So thank you for that commitment, Sophie. I love to give over now to Gabrielle. She is our president speaker with a very serious talk, I'm quite sure, but I never have seen you speaking very serious. So Gabrielle, the floor is yours. I'm looking forward that you enlighten us in the future of our club. Gabrielle, Mrs. President Toastmaster. What is possibly not the right description for yourself, but I'm looking forward to hear everything about our future. Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
You're divine, Julia. You're absolutely divine. It is such a joy to sit in this meeting, I must say. And I would like now to take the initiative to express a few thoughts about the EXCO. It's time we need to discuss it. It's a little bit of a story. To see the EXCO thriving to see Toasted thriving is without doubt in all our interest. Those who are part of this EXCO have given their best, and with heartfelt gratitude, I bid them farewell soon. When I joined the EXCO, we had only 7 club members, And it was absolutely clear to support an EXCO with a wonderfully skilled Verity and Nick at the helm of the ship. The best opportunity to look from the background how an organization was to be led. I was asked to take the role of SAA, which suited me well. Welcoming people, make them feel at home, sharing a bit of information, that all seemed manageable. I've been a tourist guide after all, so home turf. The only monster lurking from behind was handling the computer. And I want to express my gratitude to you, Vanya, and Michelle, who helped me tame this greedy monster endless times. When I was asked to be the next serving president, we didn't have a full board to choose from, as we were a very fresh club. Verity and Nick had done that post, had taken that post multiple times. I accepted because I was honored to be believed in. Plus, a Toastmaster, there is something when you say no, not so good. You say yes because you want to learn. And as Nick always says, whenever you don't want to do something, then do it because you have to learn. So it was not an option to say no when asked by Verity. What happened then? Through life's destiny, we all know. The rise and fame of Verity was the most wonderful experience to our club. To fill her shoes was an enormous pressure, which was met with lots of fear. The opposite emotion is courage, which became my master teacher until this day. Blessings to Nick, because he was there with kindness, patience, and availability. And so I wobbled from month to month, growing bits by bits. I want to mention as well that I'm very grateful for this experience because it showed me how life goes on, even if one feels inadequate to begin with. Having been to a few educationals, I started to get an overview of how each member of an EXCO plays an important part in the life of a club. The idea of being an EXCO person is not only to grow as an office bearer, it is more so that we grow as a person, because we will be able to apply skills in our daily lives. Those new skills are safely guided by printed material from Toastmaster International and by EXCO members before us, whom we can ask for support. I realized that if we bring our full willingness, commitment, and joy into the EXCO, we as a group can maximize the energy for Toasted and its members. And the outcome would be our members will get enthused and committed to serve their own purpose and that of Toasted. Our vehicle will be driven by passion and not by just doing a job. But I believe that our members need to be fully aware of the extent of the task they're asked to take. You can do little or you can do much. The importance is to bring passion. Passion to help others reach their goal, see their smile of their success, see their smile when they're succeeding, or understand their fears. Toastmaster is our playground where we can mess with the clay of words like Sophie, where we can play with the clay of words until the sculpture of a world champion is finally created. How does the EXCO work? We have one preparation session before each meeting, lasting up to 60 minutes. We need to plan ahead with themes, possible guest speakers, and to look at the overall health of our club, which takes from time to time a little bit longer. In case a role seems overwhelming, we have the option to share it with someone and divide tasks. And that is something we really, really have to consider. I have experienced great camaraderie in the team, which carried a wonderful energy. I would wish for a strong interest in our club, through the new EXCO and not getting members just so that we can survive until the next year. Because the driving energy is always, because then the driving energy, if we just survive, is lukewarm instead of firing hot. Has anyone ever asked themselves who is responsible for the permanent existence of Toasted or any Toastmaster club? It's not their founders, I found out 2 days ago, but the club itself. Through an alive and wonderful EXCO. Please understand that if members are not participating on all levels as committed to when you did the induction, we cannot function. Toasted is like a living organism which need to be fed by all of us. Those who have come forward, there are those who came forward already, which I would like to mention, but I would like to mention as well, what are the roles we still need to take? And as I said, roles can be shared. We even have to consider that we might have to reduce our meetings to only once a month if work becomes too much and everybody feels quickly an overload. We have to think of that because we can't let Toasted go down. We have so many wonderful members. We have such a great spirit and we want to keep it alive. But if it becomes too much, instead of throwing the towel, as one says, we have to take the initiative and find a new way, maybe by sharing roles and maybe by reducing our get-together to once a month. So I would like to mention Janet, who has already been supporting Nick as in his VPE role. You have spoken to her already because she went out and she phoned you and asked whether anybody would like to speak. So Janet, already for what you have done, it is absolutely highly appreciated. Thank you for that. And Janet said she would help us, but she would not take the VPE role, but she would support anyone in the committee. And let's see where that would lead us to. Daniel will be our new Zoom master. Unfortunately, from end of June, he will have left us back to America. But as the tech pro, he will do his job from there or here, from everywhere. And he is a wonderful new member of our EXCO, or going to be member of our EXCO. John Lynch, who is not here because he has got some traveling in the moment, he offered to be the secretary, taking meeting notes, registering meeting presence and role players. And Libby said she would be our treasurer and chase you all to pay your membership fees. Thank you so far for that. But as it stands in the moment, we have not received enough interest in filling all EXCO roles, and it only works if we fill all EXCO roles, because all the members of the existing EXCO will step back and leave space for new members. And it seems that I cannot leave my role. With the right EXCO, not with the right EXCO, but with enough EXCO, I will be able to function as well. So we have the Vice President of VPE of Education, and that is a role which might have to be shared. It is, as you have seen, agenda making, but this officer helps members to progress in the educational journey by scheduling meeting roles and signing off on completed projects together with me. The Vice President of Membership, VPM called, is following up interested guests, sorry Chantel, I failed a little bit, and see if they're interested to become members. Be in touch with members you haven't seen for a while. Nick is the one who has advised us and hopefully will be able to do that a little bit still. The role of the VPR, the Vice President of Public Relations, has been filled beautifully by Michelle, but she as well will hand over. It is to have a media representation, and as you have seen, always to make us aware of meetings or exciting events which are happening at Toasted. The Sergeant of Arms, and you will just Believe me, sorry, I started wrong. You won't believe it, but it's wonderful. Our Sophie has said she will take this role to welcome you in the future, the new year of Toasted, and see whether she can fit us in her stage presentation. And if not, we just have to fill in with her role. So that is the Sergeant at Arms, which is the hospitality manager, and at a hybrid meeting is helping to get the room ready and greet visitors and on and on. So, but in the moment, Sophie Line will be here. It is very important that we have some local members for our hybrid meetings. As you can see, we have to secure a complete new EXCO, a challenge for all of us. We don't have to die for it or in it, but we have to decide together, if we can and are willing to keep Toasted afloat and thriving. Let me quote Nick: Toastmasters will go on, and we need not feel as though we are disappointing anyone by putting ourselves first. That's very important, not to have a burnout. I am available to serve as the president again in a committed EXCO. I'm looking forward to hear at the end of the evening your decision. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being the most wonderful group of beings I have been asked to serve until now. Thank you. And I don't need an evaluator for this task, for this speech. You will be the evaluator by saying,
Gabriele,
yes, you're taking a role.
Thank you so much. My heart got jumping, and you got so much overtime. You actually messed with my timing, but it was worth every second. Thank you for putting it out here. And I like to, before we go in our break, I like to thank you. I like to thank Nicholas, Michelle, Gabrielle, and everyone who I'm not mentioning now. Thank you, David, John, Jen, Libby, and Sophie for taking on new possibilities for yourself and for others. And saying that, I'm looking forward to have a break, have a chat with you. And I like to extend the invitation from Gabrielle to really, and I just thought, I have no time at all. I have so many projects. I don't know what to do. Just listening to Gabrielle just put me back into space. I was like, Julia, the Toastmaster Club is the most important thing on your planet right now. Because when you succeed here, you succeed everyone. And with this invitation, I'm looking forward to an interval of 10 minutes and we see each other again at 7:30. We are late, I acknowledge it. Yes, but I think it's worth every second. See you now for a nice toast in our break and starting again at 7:30. Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you, everyone.
Leo.
Back. Hope you managed to find that bathroom, you refilled your drink, and you're looking forward to to the second half. I'm blown away every single time I come to Toastmasters and Toasted by everyone's vulnerability, their passions, their reasons, and their stories. So I look forward to more of that now.
Thank you, Leo, very much. Welcome back, everyone. We come to the evaluation, what is always very exciting, and I'm looking forward to hear the evaluations and to hear some feedback where we, of course, can learn from and drive. I like to remind the timekeeper that the evaluators have 2 to 3 minutes with cards at 2, 2.5 and 3 minutes. We start with our first evaluator, Claire Van Zyl, evaluating Imran Israel, the reluctant speaker. Claire Van Zyl, the floor is yours. I'm looking forward to hear your evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters, and especially Imran. Well done on your first Toastmasters icebreaker speech. And although from your speech, we realized that you are certainly no newcomer to speaking, it was your first speech in Toastmasters. So fabulous. Thank you very much. Thank you for introducing yourself to us. And I am certainly, from what I heard, not the only one who is curious to learn a little bit more about you as you progress in Toastmasters and you share more of yourself with us. I loved you had an excellent use of language and vocabulary, and our listener will certainly test the rest of us as to see who was paying attention to what you were saying. You have a beautiful smile, engaging, and I love how your eyes light up when you speak. You also have a really lovely and easy to listen to voice. And you kept us captivated throughout your speech, wondering what you were going to share with us next. You made good eye contact, which is important and so much more challenging on Zoom than it is in person. But you kept your contact with us, which is very, very important. You had a great message, which is about focusing on what is meaningful and with the people that matter to you most. That is a really key message and something I'm going through at this stage. One of the phrases that I really enjoyed that you used, well, you said was the triad, which was forced, coerced, persuaded. And sometimes you volunteered to speak. That was such a beautiful way to show the different facets of getting into speaking. I loved the message that you shared about developing your communication skill, as when you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And isn't that so true? What I'd like to consider for you to think about working on is introducing vocal variety and introducing pace and pauses to give us time to catch up with everything that you've said. The challenge is to stand. I'd like to challenge you to stand the next time you speak, because then we can see so much more of you. And I'm not doing that now because of my circumstances, but it allows us to get more of a sense of you and to be able to see more of your body language. So in conclusion, I'd like to say well done and thank you for sharing and introducing yourself to us. We look forward to learning more about you in the future. You have a wonderful base of speaking experience, as you shared in your presentation, and you kept us captivated with what we were going to share with us next. You have a really lovely, easy to listen to voice and an excellent use of language. You made great eye contact with us and loved your beautiful smile. So keep lighting up the stage with your eyes and our contact, and look forward to your next presentation. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Claire, very much for your evaluation. It's much appreciated. I know it's not part of the deal, but what is this motorcycle in the back? So you have to answer this question.
That's Meerkat. That's one of my motorcycles. I've got another one as well, but that's my really sexy baby.
I find it difficult to listen to Imran and then your evaluation looking at this bike, and your evaluation was so nice with Imran. So I'm completely on it. Imran, thank you so much. Thank you, Claire, for actually evaluating Imran. And saying that I am excited to hear the second evaluation of our second speech of Sophie. Nicholas Jackson, the floor is yours. Thank you so much. Off you go.
Good evening, toasted members. Good evening to our guests, and most importantly, Sophie. Sophie, you have a wonderful way of creating and describing exactly where you are. Your words flow, as you said. I was in the ticket line, ready for my show, and for about the first minute, I forgot I was actually evaluating. You have this ability to capture the audience in such a way that they are in the place where you're describing. And I took the initiative to check that this wasn't your icebreaker, because I remember whenever you speak that I get drawn in, and you have a way of making people remember you from the stories of your life that you tell. So keep that, because storytelling is really a powerful tool to delivering a message. Your language is clear, it's understandable, your pace is perfect. You speed up when you describe how excited you get about it. You slow down when you want to explain something that needs to be told with purpose. Your facial expressions are great. Your eye contact is great, although I think you might have your notes there. So sometimes your eye contact is somewhere there and not at the camera. And your choice of your language is beautiful. You obviously have used this in the past. You said that you wanted to save the world, but that you realized that connecting to the individual was more important. Where I would ask you is try to connect to the audience. Yes, you have the audience captivated, but as you have them in your hand, use that to deliver a message. At the end, you mentioned that it's a beautiful way of going from your introduction and then tying it back to conclusion. I was an audience member and then I became a performer, which I'm well done and I'm passionate about. But use it as a way of saying that if you have a passion in your life, go for that passion. Again, talking about your use of language, you spoke about how there's just so much that comes to mind. The shoddy Zoom plays that where the theatres all dwindled, but as a protea that came out of the fire, that's how these plays. I would actually say use the stage more. I could see that your hands are starting to show that, okay, there's a seed germinating, but really just show that. Say there's a seed, Alex as well, there's a seed germinating, Use your stages, your camera. Your title of the speech is Enter Stage Left. Maybe do it like a Enter Stage Left, something like that. Get more creative about being animated because you are an entertainer. Naturally, you're an entertainer. So that's why I'd like to challenge you with using more hand gestures, using a bit more excitement at the stage. But otherwise, keep going, keep telling stories, and keep looking at ways of landing a message or something that people can hold on to instead of just the beautiful creative stories that you tell. Back to you, Julia.
Thank you, Nicholas, so much for this evaluation. It's always a pleasure. You take it so serious, but serious in a way of joyful. And I love how you do it very much. I shouldn't evaluate you right now, but I love to share that I enjoy it very much. Coming to the most important duty, of course, dear Vanya, so not regarding our speakers and evaluators. Vanya, please give us the timekeeper's report for our evaluators.
Thanks, Julia. And I loved all the speeches tonight. They were very, very nice. Imran had 4 minutes and 42 seconds. Sophie had 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Claire had 3 minutes and 34 seconds, and Nicholas had 3 minutes and 31 seconds. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I invite you to enlighten me. Are we doing now the evaluation, or are we counting on who did what speech, or do I introduce now our Daniel Hartless for our table topics? Please help me out here.
Daniel.
Daniel. Oh, finally I get to you. Isn't it this another highlight of this evening, table topics. Are you all ready? Give me some drum rolls.
I am ready. I love
You
table
are ready.
topics.
Chantel, I'm so sorry that I pick on you, but I definitely pick on you now. Are you ready? Are you prepared to do table topics? It's fine. Give me some thumbs up. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I know I can be overwhelming.
Hi,
but
Julie, can you hear me?
I'm not giving up quickly.
Okay. I'm worried I've got load shedding soon. So if I cut out, apparently in our area, and can I just listen just one more time, and I will do it next time. I commit to that. How's that? Is that good?
Chantel, look, it's absolutely fantastic. It should be joy. It should be joyful. So when you have the light and when you feel white and you trust your gut feeling, it will be white. My dear Daniel Headless, the floor is yours, and I invite you to introduce us to table topics and what you come up for.
Thank you so much, Julia. I love table topics. My first public speech ever was a table topics about 2 years ago in a tiny little Toastmasters in where I went to university. And now I have 3 speeches, and one of them being over 40 minutes long, lined up for this week, both at my company and in some other aspects. So it was really how I got started speaking, and it's just amazing. You start with something very, very small that in the moment is so frightening, and then now it's become something that I get to lead and I get to tell people about just how amazing it is. So I would encourage you all to take the initiative, to step in and to just give it a try. There is no bad Toastmaster, or there's no bad table topic speech. You can't possibly mess it up. This is the ideal safe environment where you also learn. So with no further ado, basically the way this works is I will give a prompt and you'll give a speech that is 1 to 3 minutes long. And there's very little structure other than that. Just try to follow the prompts to some degree. And it teaches you the skills of being able to think on your feet, being able to take a topic that you're given and make sense of it in a very short amount of time. The idea of like an elevator speech where you have to pitch who you are when you just have 1 to 2 minutes and no time to prepare. So without further ado, I will ask for volunteers first and then give you a question so you can't think about it. You can either raise your hand. Paul. Wonderful, Paul. All right, well, I know you have a lot of expertise in leadership, so I am going to ask you one of the more leadership focused questions. As we were going through these speeches, I was hearing a lot about leadership, and I wanted to ask you a question specifically about servant leadership. So what does it mean to you to be a servant leader? Do you believe that that is the best type of leadership, or there's another type of leadership that is better? Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel, for that interesting question. I think servant leadership is indeed very important. You need to lead from the front and not from the back. I think a general of the army in the Second World War, I forgot his name, I think it was Eisenhower, would say, you have to pull the army with the string. You can't push the army. So it means that the servant leader needs to be the front runner. You need to serve your people. By serving them, by helping them, by encouraging them, you will be able to, they will follow you. Leadership is not the title. There's a good book from the monk without the Ferrari, where he also explains about leadership. And I think it's important. You are not born as a leader. You grow as a leader. You can't put on your board of the company director. Yes, people like a title, but it's not because you're a director that you're the leader. You can be the leader without name. And it's so important to try to help people, try to pull out of the people the best you can. You know, by pulling out, people are like a diamond. You need to, you can find so much good in people. but you need to pull it out of the people. And you can only do it by being a servant leader. If you try to impose yourself as leader, it will never, ever work. By serving the other, you will not only increase and enhance their own value in their life, you will give a purpose for their life. Help the people, find out what their interest is, and then you will serve them. Thank you very much.
That was great. I was writing notes, so sorry if my response was a little delayed. Thank you so much, Paul. I think what you specifically said, mentioning that the title doesn't define the leader. You can lead without a title, and you can have a title and not be a leader. That's something I think a lot of people with titles could use to hear. And a lot of people without titles could also be motivated by that. All right, now I have Leo. I'll call on you next. Yes, so Sophie mentioned something. So this is a more one I just made up recently. Sophie mentioned the importance of connecting with others. And I want to hear you, Leo, tell me a bit about how you use speaking and possibly listening as well, all of the aspects that go into being a good communicator.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm presently listening to thought leader, spiritual leader, Eckhart Tolle, and he quotes Marcus Aurelius. He calls him one of the few rare, wise, but powerful leaders and voices that ever walked the planet. And he said something like this: accept the things to which fate binds you and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all of your heart. For me, the biggest thing that I can bring as a leader, as a listener, as a person to the conversation is my heart. And in that, dropping all defense and dropping what I'm afraid of and being present in that moment, am I able to connect and listen? And the beauty about listening, and especially with listening with your heart, is you listen to a person with your whole body so that you receive what they give you, but you also give back to them. And to me, that is the greatest connection that you can make with someone through speaking, through listening with heart, mind, heart, and your gut. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Leo. That was great. Speaking about maybe getting a little deeper than any surface level speaking, but actually talking about your heart and showing your heart to others to then be able to receive their hearts. I think that's a beautiful statement, and it's very true. All right, next, Libby. I saw that you've had your hand raised. Let me find a good question for you. I think this is one of the first things I thought about when we mentioned the idea of speaking to lead. As you grow in your ability to speak and to connect with people, you'll grow in your ability to influence people. And if we look at history, the greatest orators are often the greatest influencers, people who've made the most change. But that change is not always positive. Adolf Hitler is one of the most powerful, charismatic orators to ever live on this planet. So there's a Spider-Man quote, you guys probably figured out I like superheroes, that says, with great power comes great responsibility. So as we grow in our ability to speak, as we grow in our power, how do we balance the other side and make sure that we are also being responsible with the skills that we are learning?
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for using your initiative to come up with some wonderful table topics tonight. I think that the most important thing to remember as a speaker and what I want to impart and what I want to remember when I'm working with children and parents and adults is the most important thing for me is to keep the trust and the connection going. So you mentioned a leader, a speaker like Hitler. When you have the ability to speak, you have to be mindful of the words that you're using and that the people that you are trying to influence. So you have to be mindful of your, to quote Simon Sinek, you have to be mindful of your why. Are you talking to inspire and motivate, or are you talking for your own selfish reasons? And so the great leaders of the world, the Nelson Mandelas, the Dalai Lamas, the Martin Luther Kings, they were not worried about themselves. They were worried about building trust and connection and growing a better world. So my responsibility as an emotional intelligence coach and facilitator is to inspire people, first of all, to trust themselves, to develop self-awareness, to live intentionally, and to find their purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. The connecting to your why. I love Simon Sinek. For anyone who hasn't read him, it's a great person to read, although maybe you could just talk to Libby. But speaking about having a deep why and sticking to that, sticking to whatever the reason that you started out. I think we all, especially like Sophie was talking about being young and wanting to save the world, that's hopefully where we all start, we all begin. And as if we focus on that why, then as we grow, we can continue to be connected to that why and continue to benefit others, to inspire others, and to help others grow. All righty, so Julia, you have your hand raised, but I'm actually going to go to Jen next, because since you are leading the meeting, you're getting plenty of opportunities to talk. I know we're a tiny bit rushed. So Jen, I want to ask a question that I actually thought about as either Gabby or Julia was speaking in the beginning of the meeting. I was talking about speaking to yourself, and I want to ask you, how do the things that you say to yourself affect how you lead first yourself and then how you lead others?
Would you please repeat again the question? It's a little bit long.
Sure. So the specific question is, how do the things that you say to yourself affect how you lead yourself and then how you lead others?
The things that I say to myself lead to myself, and it leads, and how it leads to others, something like that.
Something like that. How does
Okay.
your self-talk affect you and then others?
Okay. I always, Madam Toastmaster, Mr. Tabletop Master, Toastmasters and guests, good evening. I always talk to myself and I always reflect whatever I observe. And when I observe something that it will affect, impact the lives of others, I apply it to myself and I speak to people that I can, like, for example, to my family. Like, for example, my belief in God. When I know the Lord Jesus Christ, And I reflected it to myself when knowing that in Christian world, knowing Jesus Christ can save people, can save the soul. I study how to share the gospel. I study how to share the Bible, and I share it also to my family. And that's how I inspire my family. I also inspire other people to have hope, to be encouraged, so that they have a positive life as well. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think that's wonderful that when you, the things that are important to you, the things you connect with, in your case, your relationship with God and your relationship with Jesus, that is then what flows out of you and flows to others. And so by making those positive things, by making those good things, then you have a positive impact. You bring joy and love to the people around you. So thank you so much for sharing that. If we still have time, I know, Julia, you had your hand raised, but we're also.
I have my hand raised because I'm in the mood for speaking tonight. But I do love the idea of listening to someone else as well. So the floor is, I love the sentence, the floor is yours. It feels like, yeah, baby, come on, get on the floor and take it. So my invitation right now, is anyone else more in the mood of taking the floor on? Libby, sorry, I'm just picking on you. I just see you there. I haven't heard a lot of you today. It's 8 o'clock.
Libby gave a wonderful table topics just a bit ago.
No, she did, absolutely. So we do have time for one more. I just see the message from Claire, we're running over time. So I like to announce and acknowledge there is a breakdown because I have two toast at did I just said M? There are two timetables. The one timetable finishes at 8, but usually we finish at 8:30. My apologies for that. I'm in the picture of finishing at 8:30. Is there any issue for you finishing at 8:30? Please raise your hand and your concern. Otherwise, okay, Verity is Leo. All right. Thank you so much. I finish table topics at this stage. Please, I invite you at this stage. Timekeeper report. Vanya, please give us the time.
Thanks, Julia. So Paul had 2 minutes, Leo had 1 minute and 23 seconds, Libby had 1 minute and 35 seconds, and Janet had 1 minute and 43 seconds.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Vanya. I'd like to invite Justine Norman to give us the grammarian report, please.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you everyone for taking the initiative in using the word of the day. I have, Claire, I'm so sorry if you used the word of the day, but I think I was, okay. Because I was so caught up in your evaluation. I was like, oh dear, I think I might have missed it. So sorry, not Claire. I had Gabrielle using it twice, Julia using it once, Nick, Daniel, and Libby using it once. So thank you very much. For listening, I've taken down a few notes with regards to what everyone has said throughout the evening. It's quite a long list, so I won't use it all, but I'm just going to go randomly through it, and then you can just shout out, or yeah, just I think the best option is to shout out and tell me who said what. Someone wanted to save the world when they were younger.
Sophie.
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 It was Sophie. People are like diamonds. You can find so much good in people. Who said that?
Paul.
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 Oh, lots of good listening here. Mountain biking, trail running, rugby, and soccer. This person enjoys
Imran.
doing.
Imran.
Yes. You say yes because you want to learn.
Gabrielle.
Yes, Gabrielle. I'm in a space of creativity when I'm in a theatre.
Sophie.
Sophie.
It wasn't actually Sophie, no.
Is that Julia?
Yes, it
was
was
Julia.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I remember.
The biggest thing he can bring to a conversation is his heart.
Leo.
Leo.
Leo, yes. This person inspires others to have hope and courage.
Jen.
Gabrielle.
Yes, Jenna.
Ah, yeah.
And then this person likes to keep the trust and connection going.
Libby.
Libby, yes. Okay, I think I'll stop there. But thank you very much, everybody. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Justine, for the grammarian listener. I give over to Shireen O'Neill for the Women Encounter. Please enlighten us.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and good evening, fellow Toasties. Hope you're ready. Gabrielle, President Gabrielle, we have 6 ums, 1 and one how. Leo, 4 ums and 1 ah. Julia, oh, you did so well. You did so well. I was like, when is she gonna when is she gonna ah? And I really thought you wouldn't, but then you and you noticed it when you did. And then just 3 times you said to, and then also but. Justine, you also had a repetition where you said pay attention, and then when it comes to getting. Vanya, 6 ums for this evening. Claire, 1 1 well. So. You kept. It allows. So a couple of just duplications. Imran, very well done. 1 excellently done. Nicholas, 1 1 of, 1 but that, and then a duplicate in I would. Sophie, very well done. 1 and then there was a repeat when you said many theaters. Paul, 1 R, 3 ums. You. Daniel, and then we. Libby, 3 ums, and Jen, 1 Well done, everybody.
Thank you so much, Shireen, for ums. We didn't vote it for. Okay, there are the votes. Thank you so much. Please put your cross into the white table topic speech. Okay, I'm done. So it says closing thoughts. Gabriele, you will have the last word. You're short and I'm so sorry, don't have time till 8:30. I'm so super sorry. I can't believe it. Who've done that? I planned for 8:30. I don't want to go.
Julia, you did a superb job as the first time Toastmaster. A big round of applause to you with so much charm and insight. Thank you so much. So that was really a great evening. And the overtime, I have to be the first one to say sorry, because I took my time over what I thought, the 7 minutes. And that's not the first time that it happens, but it was really important to speak all of that to you. And I hope there is a response. The next upcoming meetings are we have on the agenda the 24th of May, which is meant to be a hybrid. Now, it is already next week, and we have been thinking about asking all of you whether you would take roles, whether you would want that meeting, hybrid, if there's enough people, online in general. If we don't get a vote for it as yes, then we have to leave it next week. I know it is a lot, but we have started late this year, and so we are missing one meeting, but we have to agree all of it, how we want to go about. So Nick, may I ask you to help me out here, how to find that out, by asking everybody or by sending you a note? Somebody has to collect their idea. So shall we all send a note to you saying whether hybrid, online, or not at all?
I will create a poll and put it on the group.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Nick. You see, this man is amazing. Then I would like to point out that on the 31st of May, Verity has invited us to Fred Rory, the heavy chef at the waterfront. It's online, but it is in person. It would be a wonderful possibility to see all of you. So please, we can send again the invitation for that evening. You sent it, Verity, a while ago, but we put it on our line again, and then you have free access. It would be wonderful to see everybody and support Verity. And the amazing thing is that she has our meeting with Mark Brown, and we really can learn a lot from that evening when the world champions are telling us the ins and outs of a superb speech. On the 7th of June, we will have a guest speaker, John Hambleton, about speechcraft. The theme for the evening is Find Your Voice. So depending what our outcome of the vote is now, we will either have a hybrid next week or on the 7th of June. I would like to get a hybrid in once more before we have our end of the year dinner on the 21st of June. So please make your vote the moment we have got that poll up. EXCO roles. Now we are only 13 people left. There are some shortcuts and shortcomings because of ESCOM. Those who are in the room, is there anybody who would like and feels passionate and willing to step up into the next EXCO? If we have positions, or if we have people, more people for one position, wonderful, because I'm sure as long as everybody's in the EXCO, we are able then to find the way through that and that commitment. Verity, would you like to add anything to the EXCO situation?
I think you've positioned it so beautifully, Gabriella, but it really is the club is the heart of the club is the EXCO, and the EXCO is made up of members. So it's for us to serve each other, but ultimately serve ourselves, that we can have these amazing meetings. And it is a growth opportunity. All my growth that I've had actually in Toastmasters has come from serving in leadership, far more than speaking, if I'm honest. So it really is a wonderful opportunity, and I'm here, Claire's here. You've got experienced Toastmasters to support, to guide, to help from the sidelines, but it's all there, and Toastmasters will support you. So it's just a matter of saying yes.
Thank you, Verity. And that yes, please, has to come into my box, into my personal chat box. If you would like to say yes now, then please address me. If I don't come back to you, then it has landed up somewhere, and I would ask you to please send it to my personal WhatsApp number. I would be very grateful for that. And it's so important because I want us to carry on and have fun. And you are all such an amazing group of people. So it would be such an honor to work with you on an EXCO. That is really said very seriously, and I hope we can be lighthearted, but it is such a deep wish from my heart to you. Awards. Nick, are we ready already for the Table Topics Award? Okay, I will. Awards time. Great. Okay, we start with a drum roll. Topics. Winner of the evening, Leo Altini. Woo! Wonderful, Leo. Heart-spoken honesty. You deserve it. And Leo, when we look at your growth over the last year, it's really amazing. And you have taken up roles and be supportive. You're a great guy. So good luck as well with whatever happens in your business and home life, to pull it through and to show them what a star you are. And if they don't know it, they must come to us.
I'll say this.
My closing thoughts. I looked, I thought, oh, it was everything so serious what I said perhaps, and I wanted to bring some lightness. And I looked for Mark Twain because he is such fun as well. Only kings, presidents, editors, and people with tapeworms have the right to use the editorial we. When I was younger, I could remember anything, whether it happened or not. I thought I have to mention that. Chantel, to come back to the beginning. And here's something for Table Topics Master. Why do you sit there looking like an envelope without any address on it? And the last one is for speakers. Nothing spoils a good story like the arrival of an eyewitness. Having said that, I want to see whether we can get onto the poll. Nick. My great support.
I'm setting the poll up and putting it on the WhatsApp group so that everyone can answer.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, thank you so much, Nick. Wonderful. This leaves me to wish you all a wonderful week and an open heart, growing, but setting boundaries as well. Lots of love from the President's table to you until we shall see each other again. Good night.